Well, here I've been working on getting the keyway on the left side spindle opened up to 5/16, and I just finished milling it here. I got my little gauge blocks in there. I just kept tramming around. Well, what I wound up doing, if you look, you see that dark spot there in the center, that's where the bottom of the original Woodruff key was. And I went down 250, and this end mill here is 6.5 millimeters in diameter. So after I had gotten the center of the slot, I just went down and kept going till I got to 250 deep. And then I wanted to finish at 0.3125, so then I just kept taking off like 5 thousandths at a time and tramming around the periphery of the slot, and got it dialed in. Now if you look close at this, you can see that this spindle has been repaired in the past. This is actually all weld around the outside of this. So I guess years ago, this spindle had troubles, and they welded it all up and recut the 1/4 inch wide Woodruff key slot. So I actually looked online trying to find another one of these, and anything you find is, it's used and in rough shape, and I just felt by making this key wider and broaching the wider slot in the steering arm that I could save these parts. I do have to do some work here on this shoulder where the inner bearing sits. You can see how that's all boogered up, so that's going to be my next step here after getting this keyway slot done. So yeah, I think we're in good shape here. I'm going to make a custom key for this, and I'll get it fitted into both parts, and then that way we'll have all the slop taken out of this end of it. So basically what I did to find out where this key was I wound up setting it up on V-blocks and just using the vise just to clamp the spindle. And I was very, very nervous because when I picked up this slot and centered it to the spindle of the machine, I wound up, as you can see there's quite a little angle there. And I measured this angle. It measures 9.5 degrees. Now, I looked all over the internet trying to find out specs for that keyway, and I couldn't find anything. Even some of the older parts that I could find on the internet, it looked like there was a couple of different styles. I mean, there was some that had like a spline shaft where the steering arm went over the spline, and this is an international wide front end. And I believe there was another one made by a company called, I believe it's Schwartz. And so I finally gave up trying to find that angle. And the steering was lined up good when it was on the tractor. So I just assumed that they must have had this slot in the right spot. And I guess, once I get all the slop out of all the components here, when I set the steering up, we'll just have to make an adjustment on the the long tie rod that ties both wheels, front wheels together. So it's, here again, you know, unable to get drawings and what stuff was originally from the factory, but I wound up using what was on the original part, and we're going to go from there. So we'll see how it progresses, how it works out when I get things together. Now my next step is going to be to work on this and try to resurface this shoulder here, and at least even if I have to make a little shim to build it up before I put the bearing on, but I'm gonna have to do something there. It's really boogered up. Somebody really, I don't want to say melted a bearing in there, because I still don't understand how, with the low speed of these tractors, how it could deform that and heat up like that, but I guess it's all possible. So we now have the key updated in the spindle. Okay, I know that a lot of people are going to think this setup is a little crazy here, but what I got is, if you remember from the previous videos, someone had boogered up a bearing on here at a point in time in the past, and they had really boogered up this shelf, and I really didn't have any way to get in there and square and clean everything all up. I wish I had had a facing head where I could come in and face that with a boring head, but I don't have one. But what I wound up doing was I took a lathe tool, and I'm turning it about 660 RPMs. I picked up on this shelf here in this spot, and that's my 0. And currently I'm at 0. I'm on the last pass. I was taking about 10 thousandths a pass, and what I'm doing is just by hand XYing myself around that shelf. So I'm going to attempt here to try to video some of this, and you can see how I'm going around that shelf. I am running a little light here so I can see where I'm at. Basically watching the tool when it's coming into the corner radius, and knowing I'm getting too far. So we're going to try this and see what happens. I actually thought I was going to get a lot more vibration than I have been, and but I'm only taking 10 thousandths at a whack, so I'm not really taking a lot. And you can hear the sound of the tool when I do get close to the radius. But it is cleaning it up pretty good. I'm real happy with how it's cleaning all those goobers off of there. And I'm thinking I might might leave it right at this height. I think I'm going to have enough cleanup. There's a portion there where the material was like folded over. I tried a bunch of different cutters I had for the mill, but I couldn't get into that corner with it, with the quill. I hope I got the tool in the camera there. It's just a slow process. So that's what I'm doing to get around this. You can see it's cleaning it up really nice. And this is the area that was goobered up real good, but I think that's going to clean that up good, that I'll be able to have enough surface contact that it'll be fine. So, and I have to go to this little area right here. That's where I zeroed everything from. So that's my attempt at squaring up this shelf again. Okay, well, I got that shelf down where I'm going to take it to, and I would say I got probably about 80, 85, maybe 90%. I mean, it's really nice and flat now. I got all the goobers off of there, and it's still at the original height. There was a spot right over here. This whole area here was all untouched and unscathed, and that's what I touched the tool off and backed her down from there to get all this garbage off. And what I'll do is I'll take a file and I'll try to, bevel this a little bit and clean that up. There is a felt washer that goes on there, and then an actual seal that runs in the hub gets pressed onto there, and then the bearing, of course. But what I'll do too is there's still some burrs on this diameter here. I'll file and emery them off real good. But yeah, I was pretty happy with how this lathe tool worked out in the mill. I just had to go feed kind of slow and take light cuts, and but it seemed to do fine. I will say that's the first time I've ever done that, but seemed to work, and I was able to reach down. The problem I had was any tooling I had, when I got down to the shelf, the quill, I'll show you what was happening. The quill would come down and I couldn't get the tool down to the shelf. So with the lathe tool in there, I was able to come down alongside the spindle and get down to that shelf. So that was my method behind all that. So we'll get this cleaned up a little bit with a file, and the bearing diameter cleaned up, and then we'll emery that a little, and I'm not going to say it'll be like new, but it should function like new. So okay, I just got this excuse me, spindle all cleaned up, and figured I'd show you how it came out. I just finished getting all the bearings fit. I like to have them a nice slip fit so they don't have to be pressed on and off. And so yeah, that bottom one, if you remember from the last video, that was where I machined this shelf and got her cleaned up. So I'm real happy with how this cleaned up. I mean, I could have taken more material off of here and made a little spacer to get it back to the original height, but I mean, I believe I got enough cleaned up there, and the bearing does sit on there nice and let's see if I can get this on here. I'm gonna have to set the camera down to do this. You need two hands. There we go. Okay, she's back on there now. And you can see I'm right down on there nice on that shoulder. And it's at the original dimension, so I'm pretty happy with how that all cleaned up. I mean, it whoever owned the tractor before I did, or who knows, I mean the tractor's let's see, 86 years old now. This March will be 86 years, so I mean, you never know who did what to it, but boy, they really dinged this up pretty bad. And well, we got it all cleaned up and saved it, and we now have the new keyway cut in there. And so I'll do a final cleanup on this part and maybe get it assembled back in the tractor, and we'll see how that works out. So appreciate you watching. Bye for now.